The following ad read is not sped up, but I'm taking this steroid for an allergic reaction I got, and it's really making me talk fast. I kind of feel like I can do anything, like anything. I might try and lift a car. I can definitely lift a car. At least one of those small cars, maybe not a truck, but those cars that fit in the spaces that say compact car only on the ground. Come to think of it, this is the same feeling I get when I eat sugary cereals with all the junk in it. Oh yeah, this is fun. Man, I'm gonna crash. Cereal can taste good and be healthy and not make you a jitterbug like me. Jitterbug, that's a funny word. How about some Magic Spoon? Check the stats on this cereal. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs, and 140 calories a serving. Only 140 calories. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And you can build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and maple waffle. Cookies and cream and maple waffle were first introduced for a limited time, but now they're back permanently because they sold out extremely quickly. So fast, you don't want to talk as fast as this. Go get yourself some cookies and cream and maple waffle today. Magic Spoon is healthy and delicious, perfect for a guiltless midnight snack. Go to magicspoon.com/nodunks to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code NODUNKS at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/nodunks and use the code NODUNKS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
Morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, December 8th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, having a little computer problems this morning, Tass Mellis.
Yeah, I'm saving power right now. I don't have a battery source, so you guys are a little darker right now, but you're still looking good.
Okay, well, we're happy to have you. Got our top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. The international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Lee. And last, certainly not least, making the magic happen, super producer, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are on a Wednesday. Shout out to the stream team for joining us live right now on YouTube. Again, apologies for starting a little later than normal. Take a second, though. Subscribe, like, comment, share the show, and go grab your No Dunks merch just in time for the holiday rush here over at nodunks.com. It's perfect because we have a Pacers No Dunk shirt, and we're talking about the Pacers on today's show. That's right. We'll get to that in a second. Also have that beautiful Classic Factory t-shirt, hoodie. Go to nodunks.com. Get all your gear. Make sure you check out yesterday's Emergency No Breaks episode. Emergency No Breaks? I like that. That's really funny. Trey and Graydon. They discussed all the drama from the Saudi Arabian GP, and then they set up the final race of the season. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, all tied up in the Drivers' Championship. Sunday, what time? Early race or later? What are we looking at, TK?
8 a.m., lights out, and away we go. 8 a.m. Eastern. If I'm not mistaken, the race is on ESPN2, as it usually is. So, yeah, 8 a.m. We figure maybe it'll be done by 11. Who knows what goes down with all these red flags and yellow flags, but probably 11:30-ish. We will be starting live on Sunday.
Okay, so yes, a special edition of No Breaks following the final race of the season. Like Trey said, Sunday, let's call it around noon Eastern or so. Just make sure you subscribe to No Dunks here on YouTube, and then you'll know when they're live. Later today, also in this feed, new Top Shot Hot Boys. Yeah, let's rip some packs. TK and I have been sitting on some. We'll give away some moments, so if you're a Top Shot Hot Boy or girl, join us at 3 p.m. Eastern again, right here on the YouTubes. Okay, we're going to get to last night's games. We're going to hit the beach for a little beach step in. You guys sent in some great questions. I really like this batch of questions we have on today's show. They're really fun. But let's start with some news because, Tass, the Indiana Pacers, they have a simple message this holiday season. Hit us up. Sources told The Athletics, Sham Charania and Bob Kravitz, that the Pacers have decided to rebuild after a very slow 10-16 start. Sabonis, Turner, and LeVert. They're all on the trade block here, apparently, with about 2 months to go until the February 10th trade deadline. So, yeah, what was your reaction to this article on The Athletic yesterday, Tess?
Excited for everybody. Excited for basketball fans. It's like Christmas. I mean, we all love our transactions. Now we have the possibility of 3 big players moving. It's Christmas for every single GM in the league. Yeah, you can put out your little fantasy trades. This is a possibility of you getting back a good player. And I think it's a great sign for the Indiana Pacers fans as well. I understand it could seem like, sad times, we're blowing this thing up, but it isn't working. It's just not. These guys are extremely talented players that we're talking about here, whether it's LeVert, Sabonis, and Turner. I don't see them all moving, but I also don't think this is just a rumor out there if all these guys are potentially on the trade block. And I think you have to do it. They're good players. They had an all-star the last 2 seasons. And what is their ceiling? They were a play-in tournament last year. They're 5 games under 500 this year. They're dead last in attendance. Swaths. What is basketball country and their arena just empty right now? Although technically the Pistons should be last in attendance. But anyways, there's technicalities out there. But anyways, this kind of reminds me of the Pistons with swaths. I saw Eric Kareen, the Raptors were there, and he said swaths. There's sections of the Pacers arena, Bankers Life Fieldhouse, or whatever they call it when they change names all the time, just empty. And so you've got an all-star the last year, and where are you going from here? Obviously, TJ Warren's health isn't good. I just think it's time to tear it down. It reminds me, actually, bringing up the Pistons, reminds me kind of like Blake Griffin a couple of years ago when they made the 8th seed with him as an all-star, and that was their ceiling. And this is your ceiling? Well, it's probably time to feature, one of these guys a little bit more, because I don't think they're all going, but if Sabonis goes, then LeVert is featured more, or something just to change the chemistry there. It's kind of like the Magic tearing it down with Vucevic as their best player, with their ceiling at an 8 seed. So I think this is good for everybody. Tear it down to hopefully get back up. And look at the Magic. Look at the Pistons. I know the Pistons only have 4 wins, but at least there's some hope there. The Magic made a great trade with the Chicago Bulls to get multiple first-round picks. It turned into Franz Wagner and Wendell Carter Jr., and they still got a pick on the horizon. I mean, there's hope there. Right now with the Pacers, their greatest hope is to go to nodunks.com and buy a t-shirt. I mean, really, what are they looking at here? I don't think it's all that promising, even though I'm a Malcolm Brogdon fan. I mean, it's not all coming together, and sometimes you just can't do the same thing over and over.
Leigh, have you fired up the trade machine? I know we went through the Blazers yesterday, and I hit you with a million trades of trying to move McCollum and Nurkic and Covington. Have you done the same with the Pacers here? Have you had Caris LeVert and Turner and Sabonis in deals, or do you have at least teams in mind that you could see them possibly going to as a landing spot?
Well, I think one of the teams we talked about a lot yesterday is the Charlotte Hornets. I think they could absolutely use either one of Sabonis or Turner. Now, they're different players. I mean, Turner spreads the floor probably a little bit more. Sabonis can hit the 3 as well, but then Turner gives you a little bit more rim protection. Maybe Sabonis is a bit more of a physical defender, but I think if the Hornets can get involved, they really should. And as we also talked about yesterday, obviously you're not going to give up LaMelo Ball or Bridges, but I would say anybody else, including Gordon Hayward, should be included if there's any interest there. I'm not sure how much interest there would be for a Gordon Hayward, but certainly for some of the Hornets' younger players and prospects, if you are going for the full rebuild in Indiana, that's what they should certainly be prepared to give up if you're the Hornets, because Charlotte is not a championship contender right now, but they need to be at least making the moves to show that they're going to be better than just a play-in team, and certainly that they have hopes of going further than just the first round of the playoffs. I think that's kind of what their ceiling is right now. So that's the team I think would certainly be interested. They don't have a ton of really strong assets to give up, but if you can somehow get those first-round picks included in the deal, maybe the Pacers bite on that. But what I'm also going to be monitoring closely now, if this is true, and I'm certainly not disputing the reporting there, but are we going to see the Pacers now maybe, Myles Turner's got a hamstring strain. He's out for 5 games. Domantas Sabonis is out. Are they going to start resting these guys? Because, of course, if they were to pick up an injury, that could change change how they get looked at as far as trade partners. So that'll be interesting to monitor that. But 10 and 16, the Pacers, they're a decent team, not a great team. And it certainly feels like they're just on that treadmill of mediocrity where they can probably make the playoffs, but they're certainly not a contender the way they're built right now.
Yeah, Trey, I know we've talked about this a couple times already, but who are the Pacers receiving more phone calls regarding here, last night and today and moving forward? Like, are other GMs more interested in Myles Turner, more interested in Sabonis being an all-star? I'm guessing it's unlikely with LeVert, but what do you think?
I mean, I guess it all comes down to which team you're talking about. Like Leigh is saying, if you're the Hornets, probably Myles Turner is the most interesting, right? Because he just is a simple plug and play, rim defender, 3-point shooter. There you go. Whereas if you're bringing in Sabonis, there seems to have been a little bit of a miscommunication or a disconnect with him and Rick Carlisle, where they're actually not using him quite as much as they have been in the past few years. Sabonis is a guy who is at his best with his ball in the hands. You got to fit your system around him a little bit more. I think he's a better player than Myles Turner, but if that's the case, you're having to sort of navigate things a little bit more, bringing in Sabonis. It's more of a change to your team than just adding a plug and play piece like Myles Turner. But Tess is right. Both of these, or all three of these guys, are really pretty solid players, Sabonis, Turner, and LeVert. GMs might not have been asking for Domantas Sabonis for Christmas, but if you open a Domantas Sabonis on Christmas, you're going to be happy, right? It's like you're a grown-up. When you're a kid, you don't want socks. But then when you're 30 years old and you start getting socks, you're like, nice, now I don't have to spend my own money on socks.
Yeah.
This is found socks.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm fascinated to see who draws more interest because you're right. It depends on the team. But I think overall, more calls will be coming in for Myles Turner. I really do. Just being sort of that elite defensive rim protector that can stretch the floor and hit 39% of his threes this year. I mean, he's hitting them at a decent clip and he shoots a fair number for a guy that's 7 feet tall. Could the Lakers be interested in him? I think they would be. I'm not sure they'd have enough to send back to entice the Pacers. The Raptors, desperate need of a center. Tass, is there a move to be made there? The Mavericks, I think, make a little bit of sense. He's a Texas boy. And we've talked before about the Warriors, either Sabonis or Turner as sort of like another big for a championship push here. And what would that take? Is it Wiseman? Is it a Moody or a Kuminga? Like one of your really like promising, prospects there. And that's those guys or those names at least probably better than what the Hornets young guys are, right? Like you're saying, Leigh, it would take Plumlee for salary matching reasons to get like a Turner, but then you've got to throw in, it has to be like a Book Knight or a Kai Jones or a Thor or, maybe even a PJ Washington. You like a Chevy Trax in Indiana. I'm not sure. So I just think going back, I think you're like, if the Warriors were like serious about trying to get one of these big guys, I think they can put together a very, very enticing package to try and get Charlotte to move one of them, be it a Myles Turner or a Sabonis. And
I agree. Yeah. I agree that I think that the Warriors have better assets in that sense for sure. Yeah. I think if you can get Wiseman and Kuminga, I think you've got the conversation started there with the Hornets. So that's also exactly that. With the Pacers there, but that is what the Hornets are facing here. They don't have, obviously they're two better players. They're not going to trade those. No. So then they're trying to sort of put some assets together. Probably be a third team have to be involved there somehow as well to make it happen.
Yeah, I also saw Eric Pincus in writing about Sabonis. The Thunder, very patient team, Tass, but they certainly have enough assets if they wanted to make a play for Sabonis. And I don't think that's that far-fetched. I mean, they bring it back. They have 1 million draft picks. They've got some prospects in like Opoku and Baisley and Maladone. Like there's maybe something there. Just from OKC side of things, would they ever consider bringing him back here for a deal? Like he's only 25 years old. It's not like he's in his 30s here. You pair him with SGA and Dort and a couple other pieces, like they might have something going there, or they just continue to sit on these picks and try and accumulate more and wait for a bigger name.
Sorry, Thunder. You don't deserve him. No. You're not getting him right now. You are not getting your Christmas Sabonis at this point. No, I don't think so. I think what the Pacers have done, though, is kind of smart. I mean, we're talking about guys who are surprisingly, in their primes, all three of them. Maybe because Myles Turner has a really deep voice and we had him on the show, and maybe he seems like he's a lot older, but he didn't seem like he's 25 to me. Sabonis, same thing. Maybe because he's already a 2-time All-Star, you think he's a little bit older, but no, Caris LeVert, I guess his stock, like you're implying it as his stock is the lowest Skeets. I guess it is, because of where he's come from, the injury. Sure, but I think you could talk yourself into him being a huge scoring guard for your future. And so what I think is the Pacers have opened up the table to everybody, and I think they're going to get some good offers. I think they're saying to everybody, these guys are like not quite out of your league, but they're really good. So I'm going to lead you on a little bit and make you think that you can attain them. And so I think people will be bidding against each other. I don't think the Lakers have the assets to go get.
Well, the
Myles
Lakers
Turner.
are always screwed because they have 3 guys that make like $30 million, and then everybody else makes nothing except like Taylor Horton-Tucker. He's like the only sort of call it a normal salary. And so he would have to be almost involved in any sort of deal to try and get these guys. But I'm with you. Like, it's very difficult for them to come up with a trade.
I think their future is Kelly Olynyk. Every single time I look around the league, I could see them looking for a stretch 5. I could see Kelly Olynyk and LeBron playing together.
Wow.
LeBron respects Kelly Olynyk because he pulled out Kevin Love's shoulder once upon a time when they were teammates. I think that's...
If I asked for a Sabonis and gotten Olynyk, then I would be disappointed.
Yeah, that's like me asking for a Nintendo game and getting boots at Christmas. Great, thanks, Mom. Or me asking for the Green Day album and then getting the original Green Day album that no one really wanted.
We just saw the Mavs last night. They need a guard. I don't have a good Green Day reference here, but what about Caris LeVert somehow, some way? I know there's just every guard looks good beside Luka Doncic because they need everybody. But I don't know what that package is for Caris LeVert, but I'm a believer in him. And if you could buy low at this point, and just if you give him a role, you give him an opportunity to shine, I think he'll shine. I think, maybe he's not unwrapping Sabonis. Maybe he's not even unwrapping Turner, but I think that's a pretty good present right there.
The only thing I push back on that is you're looking for shooters around Luka Doncic. As we'll get to their game last night, they got some guys struggling from 3-point distance. So is Caris LeVert. He's not a great 3-point shooter. He's brutal this year. He just can't hit one, and he hasn't been great over the last couple of years. So, as a secondary sort of playmaker, take a little bit of the load off Luka. Sure, that makes sense, Tess. And I think he can be had for a decent deal here too. I don't think it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get him. That's the thing, Leigh, with all 3 of these Pacers guys. They're movable contracts because we're not talking huge money with any of the 3. So something is very likely going to happen here. I just wonder what direction Indiana is going, because this is the first time in basically forever they've got the okay from their owner, Herb Simon, to be like, okay, let's rebuild. Like you guys said, nobody's coming to our games. There's no excitement here. We're not bad enough to get a high draft pick. We're not good enough to do anything in the playoffs. So, okay, let's move some of these guys. But does that mean like, all right, we're bottoming out, give us 1 million draft picks, let's get a monopoly on those? Or is it trying to get some players back that can keep them, competitive? Because in theory, at the end of all this, like in a perfect world, LeVert's going to be traded for something, and then either Sabonis or Turner. I don't think they're moving both of them. So you're still going to have one of those guys, good player, and still Brogdon, Taz, great player. And then whatever comes back, you might still have a decent team that maybe fits better with Rick Carlisle's vision is the other thing.
Well, and also in that article, Herb Simon apparently has always said, I want to just have a competitive team out on the court. He's never sort of pulled the plug. So you expect in that sense that they want, I think, prospects, but they're also not prepared to just completely mail in this season. And I just wonder with Caris LeVert, I wonder if he has reached that point where it's like, perhaps we overrated him a little. I think he was good there in Brooklyn, and then he got traded and it was like, oh, he's going to be good. And he just hasn't quite lived up to it. He certainly had a few injuries issues there as well. But I wonder if he is perhaps just a little, we think of him as perhaps a better player than he is, because not a great 3-point shooter. He can score, but he's also not a great distributor of the ball as well. So he's a little less dimensional than I think we consider him to be. We just sort of think, oh, he's a good player, but maybe he's not quite as good as we think.
Well, I hope Simon says blow it up, because the Pacers 100% need a star. In that Bob Kravitz article, a crazy stat, the Pacers haven't picked in the top 10 since 1989. That seems almost unbelievable. George McLeod was the pick way back when. Only Leigh Ellis gets excited about George McLeod. But it is a question, right? Like, they brought in Rick Carlisle, a guy with Indiana ties who had coached there previously. Rick Carlisle's not a rebuild coach, but it really feels like the Pacers need a full-on rebuild. Like, if they go the Orlando and Detroit way, then they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, which is how you get a star that you're then able to keep around for a long time. But is that at odds with a very old owner and a coach who wants to win? Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. Going to be a busy time for the Pacers on the phones in the next couple of months.
Yeah, I thought the Pacers had picked in the top 10. It was a wild stat there. I thought they picked in the top 10 because they took Kawhi Leonard, but obviously Kawhi wasn't in the top 10. No. I just thought he was in the top 10 because he's Kawhi Leonard. But he was 15th, and they traded him for George Hill. No biggie.
Whoops. All right. In other news, yesterday, wild stuff here. Try to get us started on this one. ESPN had the news first. I saw Blazers guard CJ McCollum is out after CT scan reveals a collapsed right lung. This was an injury that he picked up, I guess 2 games ago because he missed the last one. It was that sort of at the end of that Celtics game, if I remember correctly, where they got embarrassed. But they have found this, and obviously a bit of a scare, but he's going to be out for a little bit here.
Yeah, I think Zach Harper said it best when all of the news was coming out about CJ McCollum. There are worse injuries than a collapsed lung, but there aren't many that sound worse than a collapsed lung. Painful when it happens, I would have to imagine, since it generally comes along with a broken rib, and the treatment sounds incredibly painful depending on how bad the pneumothorax is for CJ McCollum. I guess the silver lining for CJ and the Blazers fans, Jeff Stotts at In Street Clothes, who knows all about the injuries in the history of the NBA. It's not uncommon, doesn't happen a lot in the NBA, but there have been a few cases. Gerald Wallace had a pneumothorax, a collapsed lung. Terrence Jones as well. They only missed 6 games and 7 games, which is not the longest absence for something that sounds really, really serious. The not silver lining, however, of course, is everything else that's going on with the Blazers. They're already banged up. Obviously, Damian Lillard's out. Anthony Simons is out. Nasir Little is out. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 6 of 7. The one thing they really had coming into this season was guard depth, and now they don't even have that. Not to mention, the rebuild question is obviously hanging over everybody's head right now. So does this accelerate that? Does it make it harder to trade CJ McCollum? Probably not. Does it give the Blazers time to consider their options? Also probably not. When it rains, it pours, and it rains a lot in Portland, so it's pouring a lot right now. Just hope CJ gets feeling better pretty quickly, but just the latest in a tough month for Blazers fans.
Oh my God. Yeah. And CJ specifically here with trade rumors hanging over his head, Tass. I know he has the birth of his child coming up. I think it's right around the corner. And then now this injury, which again, sounds devastating. Hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe he misses a week or 2 here, but yeah. What'd you think when you heard the McCollum news? And how do you answer Trey's question? What does this do to the idea of trading him sort of quickly or not?
Well, horrendous news. He has said that his child is coming in 1 to 5 weeks. So he knows the timeline is coming. And that basically lines up with him also in the hospital visiting for a collapsed lung, which, is horrendous. As Zach Harper put, I think that's perfect. And it's horrible for him. I don't think it really changes anything in terms of trade value. I just don't think it really does much. It's not a basketball type injury, and hopefully he'll be on the floor sooner rather than later. But in positive spin, maybe this gives him some time off, some little little paternity leave, have a baby, chill out, and stay away from basketball for a little bit, and then come back, and hopefully everything will be better. I don't know. If you look around the league, sometimes guys go out. Look at Ja Morant in Memphis. Stars go out, and teams find a way to play together. I know Portland is just simply struggling with their guys out and Damian Lillard out, but who the heck knows? Maybe they can rally. I guess that's the only way you can look at it, but I don't think it changes that calculus. That's a fun word. That's a word people are throwing around when it comes to trades. I don't think it changes anything when GMs are looking at CJ McCollum, really.
Leigh, anything to add to this McCollum news or the Blazers moving forward? I know we've talked about them a lot over the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, I don't think it actually changes. I think, hopefully he will be back in a few weeks' time at most here. So it definitely sounds gross, but if you're interested in CJ McCollum, this is not like an ACL or something like that where he could potentially be out for an entire season. It sounds like it's more just a few weeks. So if you want CJ, I think you'll still try to get him if you can.
Caleb here in the stream team says, a No Dunks Blazers shirt would be a great Christmas gift to the Blazers fans. That would be the only great thing to happen to this season for us Blazers fans. Wow, Caleb. Come on, chin up, man. Yeah, a Blazers shirt. I want to rip city, rip farts. I'm just spitballing here, coming up with something different.
Fart City.
Fart City works.
Classic City.
It sucks.
City.
Why
does it have to be fart themed? I guess.
I don't know. I thought Rip City, and then I immediately thought Rip Farts.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you know Rip Farts, I just think Rip Shitty. I mean, that's
Rip Shitty. Oh wow, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Can we put that on a t-shirt? You all right over there, Leigh? What happened there?
Yeah, no, I just bopped my computer here.
You rip a fart?
Just trying to think if there's anything keep Portland weird off that we can throw in there. But
keep No Dunks weird.
Yeah.
And then with a big fart on the back. Oh, we have to have a fart on the back. Okay.
It must be a fart. Okay, let's go on. Hey, I just thought of something dumb. Remind me to say it later.
Okay, cool. Let's get to last night's games. Only 3 on, so we can probably touch on all 3 of these. Let's start with the Brooklyn Nets beating the Mavericks 102-99. Nice comeback victory here. Handed Dallas, their 5th consecutive home loss. They can't win in Texas. Tass, what were your big takeaways from the Nets victory?
Well, I don't think it's really all that sexy to talk about a team sort of getting better slowly as the season goes on. But I think that's what you look at the Brooklyn Nets, and that's what's happening. It's like they're building a championship thing. They haven't really looked like a championship team, even though they're the top team in the Eastern Conference. Really, it's Kevin Durant and everybody else on this team. Kevin Durant has looked like either the best or the second best player in the league. And then everybody else is just, coming along for the ride recently. They haven't beaten the good teams in the league, but I think this is a win that shows they are growing a little bit. I think James Harden is finally looking his best. He fooled me at the beginning of the season, saying it was scary time for the rest of the league coming into the season. It was scary watching him at the beginning of the year. He didn't look like James Harden, but right now, he looks phenomenal. He looks like he's got those moves back where he can just sort of plow into everybody, keep that ball tight in towards the chest and create some space and throw it up and score. I think he was the one who helped close it out really with Kevin Durant as this team struggled in a game that I don't think they would have won the first quarter of the season because Harden hasn't been that great. Patty Mills obviously was great in the fourth quarter. I think Harden is better now because Nick Claxton is back. He's starting to play more. He's a lob threat, gives Harden a little bit more space. He played 21 minutes, most since game 1 of the season for Nick Claxton. They just need him. Mr. LaMarcus Aldridge remains reliable, 15 points or 13 and 3 when he scores in double digits. Shout out to Alex Schiffer. That's a good stat. I'm naming all these guys because they need all these guys, really. They need all these guys to play solid. James Johnson has been 60 and 40 over his last 10 because guys like Millsap, not been great. Blake Griffin, out of the rotation. Bruce Brown, in and out of the rotation. Cam Thomas looked solid yesterday, but they just are a team that Steve Nash reminds us has had a lot of turnover from last year and needs to come along slowly. And they're doing that. Again, number 1 in the East. So people can say, hey, they're not beating the good teams. They DGAF in Brooklyn because they're just getting better. And again, they're the 1 seed. I think the more worrisome thing is looking at Luka Doncic and the headline out of this one. And it's something that we talked about in October and November was he does not look all that well conditioned. And if you come out and you say it after the game, you say, I'm not in great shape. Well, you're going to get railed for it. And he just does it. He doesn't. The last possession where he could have tied the game, he took that 3, missed it, and then he had a wide open 3 and didn't take it. He's just not Luka. If you don't take a wide open 3 to tie a game, you're not Luka Doncic. You're just not feeling like yourself. And if he comes out after the game and says that he's not feeling all that in great shape, like he feels like he's at the top of his conditioning. That's why the Mavs are sort of good one day and not great the other day because Luka's not feeling good. So that's is it worrisome that he's in here year 4 and he doesn't know how to train in the off season? He said he played in the Olympics and then he maybe partied a little too hard or relaxed a little too hard, maybe hitting the Luka hookah a little too hard and having a little too much fun out there. I don't know. I guess it's not worrisome if he's being honest with himself. If he had a little more help, it wouldn't be that worrisome. But I guess that's why they're just not that great.
Yeah, Leigh, what do you think of the Mavericks' performance specifically last night? Not shooting well from 3-point distance. 9 of 46. You don't see that often. The sub 20% from distance. You're not going to win many games like that. And then Tim Hardaway Jr. even had one there. Pretty good look at the end off the pump fake. I think it had Durant flying by him, but he couldn't knock it down either. Is there concern here with the Dallas Mavericks? Are they going to be a team that's going to be active in the next couple of weeks? looking for a little shakeup or another guy to get into this roster to help their chances to bounce back because they're under 500 now.
Yeah, I've never been convinced that they're all that good a team, especially offensively. And I think you saw it in the fourth quarter. The big difference last night was the Nets' plan was go to Kevin Durant. And what did Kevin Durant do? He knocked in shots, went 5 for 6 in that fourth quarter. And then Patty Mills helped him out as well, hitting 8 points in that fourth quarter. Whereas the Mavericks seemed to me just like, if you got the ball and you want to shoot, go for it, guys. Who really cares? We're not running anything out here. And then Luka came in and he did get a couple of baskets himself, but it looked like a lot of work. He had to sort of get into the lane. And that's the big problem, I think, here with the Mavs is they just don't seem to have much outside of let Luka do whatever he wants to do on the offensive end, which is fine. He's a great offensive player, but it's just there's nothing behind that. There's no plan B, it seems to me. So they ran out of gas, they ran out of legs. And of course, that's also, I think, a reflection of Luka that he seemed to look gassed in that fourth quarter. And as Tass pointing out, it's a big talking point this season. But he's never really been a guy who's been in super great shape either. He's kind of carried that a little bit of that sort of, it's a bit like Nikola Jokic. You don't look at him and go, wow, this guy's looked like he's been pumping iron in the gym. Those guys just never look like that. So they sort of get their conditioning out throughout the season. But when you're losing and when you can't close out games, especially in the fourth quarter, and your team who did have a good start is now starting to drop off, it becomes more of a focal point. So I don't think Jason Kidd's a great coach. Porzingis was okay in the first half last night, didn't do much, certainly not in the fourth quarter when they needed him to stand
That happens a lot with Porzingis.
Yeah.
Dunk the ball, bro.
But just like, no, he has like these moments like, and I think it's the Mavs too, and him as well as him, like, they put him in motion. They have him moving. He's active. He's closer to the rim a lot of the time. In the first half, this was a perfect example last night. Go check his shot chart for the second half. He's not inside at all. And he's a lot more standing around. And again, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's like the Mavs get a little too ISO happy in the second half. The defense obviously changes. You have to adjust. But he does that a lot in games. He has like these like, oh, wow, great first half. And then rarely can put two together. But yeah, Trey, what did you think of the Mavericks here at this point of the season?
Well, I think they need to make some serious changes here. They need to get better players is the main thing. And they need to get guys who can actually shoot threes because what they have right now is Luka Doncic and whatever he can do. Last night, he really struggled in the second half, 10 points on 2 of 9 shooting. That's not going to get it done. And then they have 3-point shooting, which you have to make him. Otherwise, you're not getting anything from a Reggie Bullock, who's had a terrible season so far. Tim Hardaway Jr. could not make a 3 last night, 9 of 46. And if you don't have another plan, like, what are you going to do, right? Like,
no.
It should be Porzingis cutting to the hoop. I agree. He had a chance at an and one, finished with a softy layup, missed it, went to the free throw line. That's a point right there you just left on the board. I also thought Jason Kidd was pretty bad in the last minute of this game. Nick Claxton goes to the line, misses 2 free throws. Mavericks get the rebound, and he calls a timeout with 20 seconds left. It's the Mavericks' last timeout. They get that weird shot for Luka, a play they could have gotten just by bringing the ball up the court. They did get the offensive rebound, which is good because they had 3 big men out there. Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, and Porzingis. Now, I know Reggie Bullock is not shooting the ball well, but when you're down by 3, you should put out your 3-point shooters. They should be guards. I mean, maybe one big guy would be fine. They got the offensive rebound, which is nice, and they had a chance. Like Tass is saying, there was a shot opportunity for Luka Doncic basically right after the reset, but it would also been nice to be able to call a timeout there and run an actual play and get some sort of an attempt. Obviously, without the timeout that they used previously, that wasn't there. So I thought that was pretty poor stuff by Kidd. And on the flip side, I liked what Steve Nash did in the fourth quarter. Played James Harden, Kevin Durant, Patty Mills, James Johnson, and Nicholas Claxton basically all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. I guess Bruce Brown did come in for the last 20 seconds, a situational sub there. But he said, Claxton, you're giving us a lot more than Aldridge has given us. And I think that Claxton and Johnson, their length, their activity, and their athleticism really made it tough for Porzingis to do anything inside. They were just kind of pushing him out of the way and being the bigger, tougher team down there. So, yeah, the Nets put it together in the fourth quarter of this one. Pretty impressive stuff, especially considering like Durant was on fire. So the Mavericks had to double team. And when he double teams, it's just getting dished to James Harden, who now has a crack to be able to attack the hoop. It was working nice for Brooklyn. They haven't lost consecutive games yet this season. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, a weird season for the Nets. Doesn't feel like they're playing incredibly well, but they're doing well. Unlike the Mavericks, who were winning some games early on and it didn't look good, and now it definitely doesn't look good.
Yeah, I popped into Mavs Moneyball this morning just to see what the Mavericks fans were saying there, Tass, and I saw this line. We are toiling away in sweaty mediocrity with a generational superstar on our roster. Yeah, it's sort of falling apart there with the Dallas Mavericks. And yeah, it's not great when your best high-volume three-point shooter is Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, he's good. That's fine. But he should not be the best because you got Luka, who is not shooting the three ball great this year at 32%. KP's even worse. He's sub 30. And then your two sharpshooters, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bullock, like Trey said, they're 34% and 26% from deep, respectively. That's not going to cut it. I think kids said a couple times now, Tass, we're a three-point shooting team or a jump shooting team that can't hit three-pointers or jump shots right now. And that's an issue. So, do you just sort of stay the course and go, well, these are going to start dropping. Our looks aren't that bad. We're getting open shots. Or do you have to be like, maybe our team is just this and we need to make some pretty drastic changes here?
Yeah, the template seems like it should work, right? Those guys should just hit shots. The expected value of those shots, I saw former Mavs employee Bob Vulgaris throw out the stat that the expected number of these looks, which are open looks, which are guys who have historically hit them, and all these dudes should be a lot higher than all these percentages that they're hitting. Like 3 out of 10 should be a hell of a lot higher. Do you stay the course? I mean, that's what their team is. It's a good question. I don't have an answer, but I think they will shake it up here. Is it the Luka aspect where he's unable to really close out games, or is it because he has to do friggin' everything? And they're relying on him to do everything, and that's just taxing on him when they could just use a little bit of help. I guess, I don't know, or is it Tim Hardaway not being featured enough, or Porzingis not being featured enough, or guys just not hitting shots? Yeah, it's a tough question. I don't have an answer. Zero answer.
Goran Dragic is coming to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll see if he can. He'll eventually get there. I mean, you can lock that in. That he'll be on the Mavericks roster in the next couple weeks, or at least a couple of months. Okay, let's keep moving here then. Lakers handled the Celtics 117-102. They split the rivalry for the season. That was in the headline, Trey. Lakers-Celtics rivalry. They both what? Are they tied right now as 17 championships apiece? Do I have that right? Yeah, they are. Anyway, takeaways from the Lakers' victory there last night, TK.
Well, you've started to hear some talk recently about Frank Vogel possibly being on the hot seat, kind of par for the course for a LeBron James team. I don't totally buy it, but after last night, he's got to be a little worried because Laker legend Magic Johnson sent out a tweet that was all the basketball advice that the Lakers needed. Magic tweeted, if the Lakers are going to turn their season around, there are 3 things they must do on defense. First, they must play better individual defense.
Facts.
Second, play better team defense.
Facts.
And third, transition. They must improve their transition defense.
That's the weirdest part of that tweet. Why didn't he just say, and third, transition defense? Why the period really drive it home?
Get you some Grammarly, Magic. Anyways, defense, you guys ever heard of it? Turns out Magic was totally right about this one. Pretty slow first half outside of LeBron and Jason Tatum. Tatum had 21, including 14, I think, in the first 4 minutes of the game. LeBron had 18 in the first half. Robert Williams was dunking everything in sight. It looked like he might be the dominant interior presence in this game because AD snoozed through the first 24 minutes of this game. But in the third quarter, Lakers locked in and looked maybe the best they have this entire season. Anthony Davis really made his presence felt on both ends, I thought. On offense, he was making it a point to live in the lane, be aggressive at the rim. And on defense, he was the Anthony Davis that had an idiot like me picking him to win Defensive Player of the Year, flying around and just owning the paint. The Lakers held the Celtics to 20 points on 31% shooting in the third quarter, and their defense really keyed their offense. They kept getting stops, which let them get out into transition, which is where Russell Westbrook really made his presence felt. 15 in the third for Russ, added 3 assists. He was assertive. He was in control. And most important to me, he looked good when LeBron was on the court, and he looked good when LeBron was off the court. Frank Vogel said that winning the third quarter has been a goal for the Lakers. They ended plus 11 in the quarter, stretched it out to 20 early in the fourth before the Celtics made a little run in garbage time. Lakers get the W. Probably their best win of the season, improved their individual defense, their team defense, and their transition defense. Magic knows how to beat the Celtics. The key now is honestly stringing a few of these wins together. Games like this, you see it and you're like, yeah, I'm not crossing the Lakers off my title championship. Because when LeBron, AD, and Westbrook play well, they could still easily win the championship this year. But they've got Memphis, they've got OKC, and they've got Orlando. Their next 3 games, they could lose any of those games, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing with the Lakers. They'll have a nice win, and then they'll slack against one of these bad teams. But a win last night against the Celtics, that was encouraging if you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah, Westbrook's turning it around here, Tass. Shouldn't really be a surprise because it happens every year, it feels like, with Russ. Slow starts, and then he starts finding his groove. He's averaging 23.5 points, 9 assists, 7 boards over the last 8 games for the Lakers. And like Trey said, he sort of took over in the third quarter there, just like drive after drive and just being that aggressive Russ, and shots are dropping. So, yeah, anything to add to that game?
Yeah, we're at this point of the season. Russ turns it on. Everything looks good. And the third quarter especially is either you love it or you hate it as a Lakers fan. It has been horrendous for most of the year, but now they've turned it around in that third quarter. They used to be a terrible third quarter team, and that's the sign of a championship team, right? We point to the Warriors, the best third quarter team in the league, when they, lay the hammer down, and now the Lakers are doing the same thing. They were their weakest. Now it feels like that's when they really want to put their foot down. So yeah, I think this is exactly the point of the season where the Lakers will decide to turn it on. And I think LeBron has realized, and the whole team, Anthony Davis as well, who's been, kind of middling a little bit, and Russ turning it on now, that they have to get better at this point. They can't just be a play-in tournament type team. That's kind of where they've been middling, but now they're 6th and only upwards from here, it sure feels like. And yeah, I totally agree with Trey. This is exactly why you don't face this team in the playoffs, and they should be still talked about, even though they're 13-12, even though they've been lousy defensively, even though they're top heavy, even though they're old. They should be in that conversation for a championship team.
Leigh, I got a question for you. Dennis Schröder struggled last night for the Celtics. Only scored 10 points. He didn't even play in the fourth quarter, if I remember correctly. He was booed regularly in the first half by Lakers fans. Now, I guess the reason being, he turned down an $84 million 4-year deal, like an offer from the Lakers, right? He wanted to test the market last summer. Instead, he had to settle for like a $6 million deal, 1-year deal that went to Boston. How do you feel about them booing him doing that, though? I'm just curious.
Very, very weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense because he didn't insult the franchise. Certainly not that I saw. He bet on himself and he lost. So he's the only one who really should be upset with himself. If you know what I mean. Like, okay, the Lakers.
Well, Lakers fans, though, are so delusional. They're like, you should have played for us for $1 million, man. You have the right to put on the purple and gold.
Yeah.
Let alone $84 million.
Yeah. But he didn't. I don't think he did anything that should have upset the fans. That's the weird part of it,
Except leaving them.
Yeah, I guess they're saying, "Oh, you're too good for us, and look what happened to you," sort of thing. And but he's actually embraced that. He's kind of said, "Yep, I screwed up," rather than sort of try to sort of point out. But I think this victory comes down to the fact that have you guys ever played pickup ball, and all of a sudden a pretty girl turns up, and everyone starts like hustling and rebounding and boxing out and contributing. You saw what happened last night. Jennifer Lopez there was courtside, so everyone's like, "All right. Let's play our best here, guys. Let's play our best."
Okay.
It worked.
Interesting.
I thought they were playing for Ben Affleck.
Nah.
Ben Bump.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting
Always
thought.
happens.
All right.
Yep.
Final game. Let's flip this in here.
I'm actually with Nuno here. I've never impressed a girl with a lights out.
Well, Nuno,
It just means hustle more. Yeah, just try harder.
Yeah. That's the whole problem then.
Hustle?
Nuno.
Come on. Get
Girls like to
buckets.
see
That's
that.
what's impressed the women. Come on, you know this. Boxing out.
But hey,
That's
listen,
for the sickos.
He's boxing
but-
out. He's looking over like that.
what happens if you're a bad shooter and you don't want to throw up an air ball in front of her? So you want to be that guy who's like, oh, that guy's working hard. Look at him. He's hustling. I bet he looks like he's a high energy guy, high effort guy.
Glue guy.
High energy on the court, high energy in the bed, right, Leigh? Okay, final game. Let's slip it in here. RJ Barrett. He hit 7 threes as the Knicks beat the Spurs to snap a 3-game skid. Of course the Knicks won. I took the Spurs last night. But Leigh, what'd you think? I didn't actually. The flip of the coin picked the Spurs last night. But what'd you think, Leigh?
The Knicks have to somehow figure out. Maybe they should go to Tampa to play their home games like the Raptors did last season. Because outside of Madison Square Garden, they just looked like a completely different team last night. Now, Nerlens Noel came in for Mitchell Robinson. Now, in the last couple of games, the Knicks have been hurt by like a floor-spreading big man, like a Vucevic or like Jokic. That's not really the case when you go up against Jakob Poeltl there in San Antonio. So you can afford to make a move like that, but it really worked. Mitchell Robinson was very effective in this game. RJ Barrett hit his first 5 threes, finished 7 for 8 from the game. And Julius Randle just looked like that all-star he was last season, that most improved player, confident, got to his spots, hit shots, played with an aggressive tone, but also just a freeness, a looseness that they just don't get playing in that crowd in Madison Square Garden because the expectations are so high. I mean, I know I've referenced this earlier in the season. Scientifically, I haven't got any proof, but when I watch the game, the eye test tells me there's just such a release valve when they're not in Madison Square Garden, and they just play better. Now, the Spurs are on the second night of a back-to-back. They didn't shoot well themselves last night, and the Knicks seem to just catch fire. But honestly, it's incredible how different this team just looks outside of the Garden versus when they're at home. They just seem tight. They seem like anytime they miss a shot, they fall behind 2 or 3 baskets. Like it's such an effort to get themselves back into the game. Last night, first half was somewhat sort of tightish, but then they really did spread it out in that second half. And in the end, a very comfortable road victory here for the Knicks.
Yeah, Tass, what did you think of Tibbs switching up the center position there? I'm just interested to hear your thoughts because Leigh said it. Nerlens Noel gets the start. Mitchell Robinson had started all 20 games that he had played in this year, but he comes off the bench and has a great game. 11-14, 2 steals, 3 blocks. In 22 minutes, he threw that up. Tibbs has said they're interchangeable, but does Mitchell Robinson maybe just work better as a sort of an energy guy coming off the pint?
Well, it worked in this one for sure. I think Tibbs playing his hand perfectly. He is just showing that sometimes you just got to call guys out. He did that with Mitchell Robinson. It worked perfectly. Now, I think if you put him in the starting lineup, I think he'll be fine. But yeah, Mitchell Robinson was in a great mood. Even when Drew Eubanks, Spurs backup center, took him down and he looked injured, Mitchell Robinson got up and said, that's cool, man. You must have been in a great mood because that is just the perfect recipe for a fight. But Mitchell Robinson was just cool with it. I think, Tibbs is just playing his hand perfectly. It worked for one game. I don't know how long it works for forever because I think the way he called out RJ Barrett also worked perfectly. He basically said, you got to get in the gym, son. It doesn't get more emphatic than a coach saying, hey, you used to shoot in practice. You used to shoot 3-point jumpers after the last game is what he said about RJ Barrett. Just go practice. And then he has his career high in 3-pointers, just like that. I mean, he's playing it perfectly. And so,
well, didn't Fred Katz say the reason was like RJ Barrett had like a stomach bug and had the shits and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's the looseness. He was Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber blowing his guts out on the toilet, went out and was Drano on the court as well. 7 threes, if you get that from RJ Barrett, that's huge. And he did a great job, I thought, of playing off of Julius Randle. Julius Randle was getting doubled a lot. He was doing a good job of being a good teammate, getting rid of the ball. That got RJ Barrett open threes. That also got him open driving lanes, which he took advantage of. So, yeah, a really nice win for the Knicks.
Are you saying that RJ Barrett has had a stomach bug for 22 games?
Well, for 2 weeks, apparently. No, 2 weeks. Yeah. I mean, since sort of Tibbs has gotten on him, like you're right. I'm not denying what Tibbs said. You're right. But I mean, maybe it wasn't that Tibbs. Maybe the guy just like couldn't stay off the can. He couldn't get in the gym because he was sitting on the can 24/7.
It's a long stomach bug.
That is a long stomach bug. Yeah. I mean, drink some like stale ginger ale or something. Yeah. Have some crackers.
Let's make some Knicks diapers. We're making Portland shitters, Portland Trail shitters, whatever we're making. Let's
make some diapers.
what are they? Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Knickerbockers. I mean, they are the Knickerbockers, aren't they?
Like maybe
Hold on. Are Bockers underwear? Like knickers are underwear?
Well, Knickerbockers aren't they the big old-fashioned underwear? I think they were.
I don't
those
know.
are
thought they were.
believers. Okay, I got it. So we make they could be adult diapers, and when someone poops themselves, like a little trigger goes bing bong, just so everybody around you for some reason knows that you just dumped in your diaper. I don't know why you would ever want that. Okay, perfect time to take a break. When we come back, we'll hit the beach to answer a few of your questions. Guys, Christmas is right around the corner. I have something to admit. I am that notoriously difficult person to buy for. My wife is always complaining about how she never knows what to get me. I'm no good at giving her suggestions. Anytime she asks, I say, my only answer is always an NBA Jam arcade. And she refuses to get that for me. Well, this year, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to make it easy for her and everybody else that wants to get me a gift. All I want is stance. That's right. I want to look great, feel amazing in 2022. Just give me Stance this year. We're talking about the socks, baby. Stance's premium line of socks, apparel, and more always comes correct with colorful constructions, innovative materials, and choice fits that are built to last. You throw in an all-star curation of A-list collaborators, and those lucky recipients on your holiday nice list have never had it so good. Check out stance.com for all the latest, including several different subscription options that are sure to keep your friends and family feeling great all year round. I love these socks. I got a pair right here. Freshies. All right. Here's what I was thinking getting ready for this ad read. You know, like some people ask you if you won the lottery, if you won Mega Millions, if you were like rich for eternity, like what would you buy? A yacht or an island? I think the first thing I would buy if I was mega rich would be the ability to have fresh socks every day for the rest of my life. Because that is one of the most underrated good feelings is putting on a pair of fresh socks. Am I right, Leigh?
Yes, you are.
And then you wear it once and then you wash them or whatever. It's just never the same as that first wear. So if I'm ever loaded, that's what I'm doing. And I'll give the socks away. Don't get me wrong. I'll give them to like a shelter and stuff like that. But like everyday fresh socks. Oh my God. Got to get a subscription service to Stance. I can maybe do it. 365 new socks every day. Stance has the perfect gift for every pumpkin poet on your list. Go see for yourself. It's easy. Just head over to stance.com and pick out some styles you think they might like or you might like. Enjoy the color and comfort of life. Enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary. ... with Stance. I'm going to email Stance about this final line in this ad copy. We can do better than that. Stance socks. Live like a million. No. We can do better than that too. All right. Anyway, I'll work on that. Go get yourself some fresh Stance socks. Deep sniff. They're brand new, so don't worry. All right. What do you got, Leigh?
You don't? Okay. Yeah. Well, guys, you know I'm not one to brag, but I'm going to make an exception today because right now I've got it going on when it comes to Grammarly, and here's what I mean. This is from Grammarly's words, not mine. Check out the vocabulary on you. You've wordsmithed your way to a new personal record. Way to go. And then Grammarly also hit me with some stats, Schumann style. I was more productive than 87% of Grammarly users, 80% more accurate than them, and I used more unique words than 86% of Grammarly users. I'm in that vaunted 80 Grammarly club. Anyone else? Crickets there. Yeah. Not only that, I have a 68-week Grammarly writing streak going on. So I think I'm going to write for one more week and then stop. Anyway, Grammarly makes writing fun because it helps you communicate more effectively, helps the tone of your writing or message you're trying to convey. So rather than sometimes, you write that email and say, could someone else read it? And then they give you those little edits and you're like, no, don't actually give me those. I want to just send it myself. Well, Grammarly can do all that for you in that way that you're not actually, offended or annoyed by the person. And it can even do this very subtle trick. Skeetsy, I know you have OCD when it comes to our Google Docs, right? You like to put all the words in. If someone else edits it, you get, I don't like that.
Everything to look all right. Let's all use the same dashes. Let's all have the same font. Let's all have the same color. It's not a lot to ask.
No, it's not, but you get a very particular about it. And last week, there was actually a word that should have been hyphenated and it wasn't. And when I opened the doc, Grammarly highlighted it for me, offered a correction. I took it. I thought, I wonder if old Skeetsy's going to have noticed that. Because you can go back and see all the edits that were done.
Right.
But you didn't. See, you didn't. So I was just like, because I was like, oh my God, I know how I get to these things, but I can't myself turn down this suggestion.
Give a shit how I feel about these things.
No, but you know how you'll send that
do it
little
on purpose.
Yeah, but you'll send that sort of like passive aggressive message in Slack about something else you'll be trying to get.
Yes. Maybe when you're gonna travel to Canada, put it in our calendar. Is that what you're alluding to?
How many calendars do we have going?
One.
What's it called?
Calendar.
What's the calendar called?
You were using some other calendar.
No Dunks. I was using No Dunks. What was the calendar?
No. You were using the No Dunks email calendar. Yeah. We have a shared Google calendar. It says No Dunks schedule.
Yeah, but there's another one. It says the start of it. I've got all sorts of calendars going on like everybody. Anyway, so the thing is with Grammarly, right? You don't have these problems because you can make these subtle changes without everyone trying to fight you over it. Okay, so take the stress out of getting the words right with the grammar. It may not help you with your calendars. Okay, it doesn't say specifically calendar work here, but take the stress out of getting the words right with Grammarly. My listeners get 20% off Grammarly Premium.
Mine too.
Mine do. If you use my calendar, you get 20% off.
Grammarly.com/no-dunks. That's 20% off at GRAMMARLY.com/no-dunks. Making
content is an essential part of what I do to keep this show going. Nay, making content is an essential part of what I do to keep myself going. As the saying goes, content is life, the rest is just retweets. And while we have devoted ourselves to slanging content with an almost monastic dedication, not everyone has the time to study at the feet of the masters, to handcraft modern classics day in and day out, to chisel a meme out of marble with their bare hands. That's where Canva Pro comes in. Canva Pro is a design platform that empowers you to create and share stunning content in just a few clicks. It's amazingly fast and fun. You can choose from thousands of templates that are easy to customize or start from scratch with endless premium fonts, photos, videos, and so much more that add personality and edge to whatever you're designing. For just $12.99 a month, you and 4 teammates can unlock everything Canva Pro has to offer. Designing together has never been easier, whether you're normal aggressive or passive aggressive, as Canva Pro helps you stay organized, on the same page, and on top of team projects. I don't know if they have a calendar integration, but it's something we should look at. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use my specific promo code. Just go to canva.me/no-dunks to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/no-dunks. Canva.me/no-dunks.
I like this here from Julio. Me and Julio down in the StreamYard. Julio says, this is the only podcast where I don't skip past the ads. There it is. We love to see and hear it. Thank you, Julio. Yeah, Leo, because it just came up at the Christmas dinner that you were going to be gone in Canada for a couple weeks. And we were like, it's not in the calendar. Everybody else is putting their travel plans.
Yeah.
And you were like, Slack. Yeah, it is. You're like, it's in the calendar. Oh,
well, it was in the Slack.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have a calendar. You can put the dates. And then you were like, it is in the calendar. I'm like, I'm not seeing it. And then, we got to the bottom of the calendar that you were using.
All right, listen, it's on my calendar on the fridge at home, if that helps. I'm not, I mean.
Let me just take a photo and put it in Slack. That'll be easy for us. All right, let's hit Beach. Answer a few of your questions. Holy moly. We're already about an hour into this podcast and we're just hitting the beach? Having some fun here on a Wednesday, aren't we? All right, first one. It's from Derek in Minneapolis. Here's a good question. Which player gets their first career big beef game this year? 20 rebounds or more. It says here, if Skeets picks Tim Hardaway Jr., you need to bench Skeets for a few pods. Always saying Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to get 50 points one of these days. 20 rebounds, probably not. My homer pick, writes Derek, from someone who hates homer picks, is Jared Vanderbilt. Okay, he's a Wolves fan here. Turn up, love you guys. Awesome. Again, that's from Derek. So, first career big beef this season, Tass. What's your prediction?
Oh, Derek with the V8 call. Jared Vanderbilt, that's his nickname. I love it. I'm a Jared Vanderbilt fan, although 20 boards for a guy playing small forward-ish, power forward-ish, he could do it. He's a hustle guy. Yeah. But yeah, it would be a bit of a struggle. He's going to get lots of minutes there. Good pick. But somebody who's already been mentioned today, Jakob Poeltl. I think, he's going to squeeze one out. He never plays around the three-point line. Never goes close to it. He's averaging a career high 9.5 boards per game. He's nearly averaging a double-double. Give him a little respect. He's a pretty decent player. He's playing big minutes. I don't think anyone's going to take his minutes. I mentioned Drew Eubanks, Jock Londale, all these white guys. They're not taking his minutes. So I think Pop likes to play Poeltl a lot, and he's got a board if he's going to play for Pop, and that's why he's averaging a career high in 9.5 boards. So I believe in Yak. He's an underrated center. He really, really plays hard, and you don't want to go to the rim against Jakob Poeltl, even though you don't think of him as a really athletic guy. It's like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez are courtside every single game for Jakob Poeltl's games. That guy plays hard. 48 minutes a game. So
box it out like crazy.
No doubt. No doubt.
It's true. He is good at that. I'm actually furious with Poeltl last night because I had him on a crazy parlay for over 21.5 rebounds and points. And what did he naturally end with? 21 combined points and rebounds. It's the only one that didn't hit. Otherwise, we were looking at having fresh socks for life, guys. But come on. And it really hurt because there was a possession where he got the rebound and he had like a little bunny inside and he missed it. If he scores there, I hit the over. But that's a good one. I actually went through the rebound leaders to try and figure out the answer to this question. I like your pick there with Poeltl, though, Tass. There are 16 guys right now who average over 9.9 rebounds per game, okay? All of them except one have at least one big beef in their career. That's the tough part of this. I see people in the stream team suggesting names. Guys, they already have big beefs to their name, a couple of them you're suggesting. But one that doesn't, 9.9 rebounds per game, Magic big man Wendell Carter. So that's my pick. I'll go with him. He grabbed 17 in a game once this season. Or excuse me, that's his career high. He did it for the Bulls. He's got like a 15 board game this year. He did that in like pretty limited time too. So I think he could get to 20, maybe he just gets a lot of minutes because of an injury to some backup or maybe an overtime period or something like that. Give me Wendell Carter, Trey, for his first big beef ever.
Is he still wearing goggles?
I believe he is. Yeah.
I think that helps rebounding. I don't know why, but there's not a lot of guards out there that are wearing goggles. It's usually the big guys. So yeah, I'm in on that one. I also think a wizard is going to beef at some point. I don't know if it's going to be Kyle Kuzma or Montrezl Harrell. They're both averaging career high rebounds this year. They both have had their career high game. I think 18 for Harrell was his career high, 17 for Kuzma. That was a surprise. But yeah, Wes Unseld Jr. is the coach now. His dad, Wes Unseld Sr., a rebounding legend, a Wizards legend. It will be an honorific beef.
Leigh, you got anyone else to add to this? What's your prediction? First big beef for their career.
Vucci hasn't beefed for the Bulls. He had 19 earlier this season.
But he has a beef to his name.
Yeah. I guess he does. Yeah, but he hasn't beefed from his new team. So I'm just going to take that little.
Don't worry about the question and just go.
It was a bit of a weird question anyway, because when he threw in the Tim Hardaway, so I'm like, does he just mean then career high game? Is that what he meant? But because obviously Tim Hardaway is not going to beef. So anyway,
well, yeah, he's joking that I would pick Tim Hardaway. All right. So okay, just for the record here, I want to track this. I got Wendell Carter. Sounds like Tass is taking Poeltl. Trey, your official pick is, are you going?
Give me a Montrezl Harrell.
Okay.
Official pick, yeah.
And Leigh is going Vooch for his new team, even though he's already done it before.
Bulls beef for Vici.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a weird one because I too was going through guys' game logs, going back.
Yeah, that's
Who's
what I did.
beefed? Mitchell Robinson.
Who's beefed?
Yeah, he's been in the league. This is year 4 for him. He had a big beef in year number 1, and not since. Had to go deep in the game logs for Mr. Mitchell. But it's great to have a Mitchell in the league. We don't have a first name Mitchell in the league. We got a Donovan Mitchell. That doesn't count. But Mitchell's just a nice name to have in the league. And I do agree about the goggles comment with Trey. I don't know what game I was watching yesterday, but I saw there was a big man on the Spurs bench maybe, and he was squinting, looking at something courtside. Like, if you're a basketball player, why are you ever squinting? Shouldn't you get your eyes checked?
Yeah, get that laser.
You should have perfect eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next question. Mary Dinkmas. I'll get right to it. This morning in my research communication class, my professor had a ton, we're talking hundreds, of his own basketball cards laid out on the tables for an activity about statistics. I couldn't tell you what we were supposed to be doing because naturally I was searching fervently for an Otis Thorpe card. Another way back playback to when we used to open cards. Wouldn't you know it? This guy won. He found 4 Otis Thorpe cards, and instantly my day was made.
Wow.
When's a time when 2 of your worlds collided at an unlikely time? Love you, boys. Love you too, Jack.
Love
from
you too.
SoCal.
Yeah.
Merry Dinkmas to you.
Dinkmas, everyone.
All right, so Leigh, when's a time when 2 of your worlds collided at an unlikely time?
Yeah, well, first off, though, Otis Thorpe cards are like wedgies. They do come in bunches. I've often seen when we've opened a pack, we get one Otis, you get another Otis. So that sort of checks out there. But for me, the answer is actually the 2017 finals, Warriors Cavs, of course. And I was out there and, Trey and I used to go and you'd get to interview some players from time to time. But I was always interested in who else was there. And one year, Thierry Henry, the former Arsenal striker, was there. And I used to be a big fan of Thierry when I lived in London. He was great. And I got a chance to interview him, and I was very excited. And look at that. There he is, me and Thierry.
Nice.
I've even put it on a backdrop there.
Wow, it's
JB.
very
Look at
nice.
that. Yeah. So, I've said this as well before. People talk about Ronaldo and Messi as the 2 greatest strikers of the sort of last 20 years. Henry's up there, man. He was unbelievable as a player. The manager of Arsenal at the time, Arsene Wenger, picked him up off the scrap heap at Juventus for £10 million. A snip, he turned out to be. Henry's got a statue now outside the Emirates Stadium there. I went and saw that actually when I was in London. But to interview Thierry Henry for me was just incredible. He's a big basketball fan. And it was an awesome experience.
Okay, good answer. Trey, you got one?
Yeah, mine is actually from yesterday. Finished recording No Breaks with Graydon Gordy and went to check my email. And the first email I saw was from Masterclass. Not an ad.
Right.
Meet your new instructor, Lewis Hamilton.
Wow.
Lewis Hamilton is a masterclass instructor teaching the winning mindset. Now, this is not an ad because they are currently not a sponsor, but I'm still going to watch this. Guaranteed, but only if Lewis Hamilton wins on Sunday, because I assume if he comes in second, they'll just delete it off the platform. They're like, sorry. I mean, 7 is good, but it's not 8. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what Lewis says about it, and I'm excited to put his driving tips to the test here in Atlanta.
That's the unfortunate part. Shouldn't it be Lewis Hamilton teaching you how to parallel park or something?
Yeah.
That'd be.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, winning mindset. Okay, I mean, you can apply that to a lot more in your life, but I like the specific stuff. Like, hey, that guy's the best driver in the world. Teach me how to drive. Okay, cool. Tass, you have an answer? I mean, my answer is pretty simple. It's like anytime I've ever run into a Survivor contestant at a basketball arena. Wendell Holland we saw here at State Farm Arena down at the Fortress, I think. And well, I guess I never saw Earl Cole in person, but he's a big basketball fan. So anytime there's that crossover between Survivor and basketball fandom, I love it. But what about you, Tass?
Well, mine is F1 related as well. Every Monday, I make some NBA picks on an athletic podcast. It's called Best on the Board. They make NFL picks. I jump on with Michael Beller to make some NBA picks for that night. And after I recorded on Monday, Michael Beller hit me up and said, we have a mutual friend, Graydon Gordian.
Oh, wow.
Who was on our F1 podcast, No Breaks. They went to school together, grad school at Northwestern. they roomied together for at least a semester. So there's a tie-in. There's a two worlds colliding. Graydon Gordian. Michael Beller said, he's a great guy. And I said, of course he is. Of course Graydon Gordian is. And of course he's a mutual friend because Graydon Gordian knows everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
He probably knows Thierry Henry.
Probably does. Yeah. Between Graydon Gordian and Larry Luke, they know everyone that has ever walked on this earth. They know a lot of people. Great.
Actually, can I get JD? Can I get that picture of Thierry Henry because I'm collecting photos for our top 75 guests, photos or videos, and I think I mentioned to Leigh, hey, give me that Thierry Henry one because I don't know where that clip is.
Oh, he probably put it in the calendar. Yeah. It's there. It's
okay,
on a
cool.
Monday,
I'll find it. I'll find it in that calendar. What's that calendar called? My Old Friends. Well, I don't know what it's called. Cool.
My old friend. Just a calendar of times he's met people. Thierry Henry, June 28th.
All right, we got.
Well,
time.
I think Lewis Hamilton was at that final series, actually, Trey, wasn't he? I think
we've
got a
before,
creepy sort of selfie with him, didn't you? Sort of like a.
I wish I took a dumb picture with Neymar. If I would have known that years later I actually liked Lewis Hamilton, I would have taken a picture with him. You had to fill me in on it afterwards. Who's that guy wearing the orange jacket? He looks famous. He was.
All right, final one here. Good day, no dunkers. I'm 36 years old and ripped some lips for the first time this summer. And I caught a fish. I've become quite proud of this very generic accomplishment. What's something you accomplished much later than others, but you're still proud of? Thanks for the many years of laughs. I found you on the Grantland podcast with your Friday episodes years back, and I've been enjoying the classics ever since. That's from Wes in Utah. Wes Mangum. Mangum? Mangum. I hope it's Mangum. Anyway, Wes in Utah. Great question. Something you've accomplished much later than others, but you're still proud of. Trey, what do you got?
For me, it's liking olives. It took until I was 36 years old for me to realize that I liked olives. My 2021 New Year's resolution was to tell people that I liked olives because to me, it kind of came as a surprise, man. I just thought I hated them forever. And then one day I was like, wait a second, buddy. You love a tapenade spread on a muffaletta. You use olive oil all the time when you're cooking. You don't mind olives on pizza. Do you actually like olives? Turns out I do. So I've been letting people know for the entire year, and I just wanted to tell you guys because I don't know if I'd ever clarified it. But yeah, I'm an olives guy now. So the key to me, Laura always said you got to have 7. You got to have 7 and then you'll like olives. I'm like, what? Yeah. That sounds completely made up to me. But I think she's right that you have to have multiple because the first one, salt bomb. Second one, though, your tongue's ready. Your tongue is ready for that delicious olive brine. And then you're living the life. Then you can get up to 7 if you're feeling crazy.
Yeah. Leigh, I can't remember you and we know Tass love olives. Do you like olives?
Yes, I wouldn't say I love them, but when they're a little starter, they're going around the table before the main meals come. Yeah, I'm dipping.
You don't like them for your main dish?
No, well, the thing is because I think they are very, very salty the whole time. So that's why I.
So do I. Yeah.
4 or 5 and I'm done. That's it. But yeah, I'm definitely dipping in for 1 or 2 for sure.
All right, great, good to know. Maybe might have some olives in some of your stockings this year, guys. Just loose olives just thrown in. It's like clementines or oranges. Tass, do you have an answer for this one?
Cooking. Now it's not current. I haven't learned how to cook yet, but I'm speaking about the future. One day I'm going to learn how to cook, and then I'm going to be really proud that it happened in my 40s. Maybe 50s. I don't know.
Talking it into existence.
Yeah, I haven't learned it yet, but I'm going to be super proud.
Okay.
It's not happening now. I cook olives. I do cook olives. As Kevin said, I cook me some olives. No doubt.
I like olives if they're cold or if they're warm. Doesn't matter to me because I like olives now.
This guy loves them. Can't stop talking about them.
Gotta let everybody know.
Leigh, what do you got for this one?
Well, I was 45 when I discovered a thing called snuba diving, which is halfway between scuba diving and snorkeling. And I did it a day after I found out it existed. I did it, and it was awesome. And I did it with my 8-year-old son at the time, and it was a great experience. I've snorkeled a lot, but I've always been a little hesitant to scuba. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect in between. You go down under the water for a long time, but you're not super far down. So really, really fun experience.
Aquaman! Ah!
Oh, there it is. Sorry, yeah. Didn't know you were going to that. It's well played. Are you going to be doing it again?
Yes. I don't know when or where, but yes, I absolutely
Just
will
put
be
it in
doing
the
again.
calendar when you're going to be doing it. Okay? Just so I have an idea.
Whatever you
All
book
right?
it.
Which says
Well,
Leigh snuba diving. For
Your buddy, our buddy Grish, my buddy
Yeah.
Grish, I should call him. That's his official
It's,
title.
it's my buddy, but it is
yeah.
our buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, he went like on a shipwreck sort of thing down in Aruba, which was pretty exciting. So that's somewhere on the horizon at some point. I want to get down there, check that out.
Yeah,
You'd
but
like
does
to Snuba in Aruba.
I can't remember though. What are my buddy Grish's opinions on snuba diving? Because he's a big scuba diver. Does he put his
What?
giant nose up to shark? I couldn't resist. What does he think of it? I can't remember.
Well, like most people, when I put it on the gram, he thought it was just a spelling mistake. I put Snuba instead of Scuba.
Where's your Grammarly account?
Yeah, he said, I love a good Snuba with a little laugh emoji. And I was like, but it's a real thing. And then we talked about it. I think he's into it because, he's scubaed a lot. And I think it's a nice way to break in with his kids. I don't think his kids have been scubaing with him as far as I recall. So
Scoobering.
Yeah.
Did you pronounce or did you spell that wrong?
I'm actually checking right now if Grammarly picks up on snuba.
I can tell you that.
You're letting it go.
Do you plan on working your way up to a full scuba, Leigh?
Yes, I do. I do now that I've had the experience because you have to learn how to sort of clear your nasal passage and also pop your ears. And once you do that, it's gross when you see what's in your mouth and your face there, but you feel a little bit more comfortable with the just the breathing and stuff. So yes, I definitely want to go for a scuba at some point.
Who's your favorite actor, Leigh? I see people in the stream team asking.
My favorite actor.
Yeah, is it Snuba Gooding Jr.? Great stuff, Daniel.
Leigh, what's your favorite brass instrument? The Snuba, perhaps?
No, my kids love watching Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. There it is. We're firing the pun gun here. Okay. Great stuff, guys. Keep your questions coming. No dunks at theathletic.com. Tweet them in at no dunks inc. You can leave them in the YouTube comments below any of our videos if you'd like to do that as well. We'll be hitting the beach periodically here, maybe the rest of the week, and of course into next week and the rest of the season. So always send in those NBA and non-NBA questions. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, JD's got tweet of the night. We got pick 'em results, and we'll make our new picks. So don't go anywhere.
Yeah, so guys, yesterday I was complaining about all the struggles I've been having with all the new gear for the Classic Factory. I'll take you on a little tour of all the things that don't work. So this mixer did not work. Could not get it going. What else we got here? This multi-view camera thing did not work. What else? This light over here
Wow.
did not work. Did
That's
not
a
work.
nice move there.
Still can't get this thing working.
Cool.
I mean,
Camera?
look, the reality is all of this stuff works, but it's very, very, very complicated to set up, and it's very frustrating. But there is one final piece of equipment. Actually, it's a full box of stuff from Simply Safe. And this is going to be the final thing that I set up at the Classic Factory. Why?
Nice.
Because it's so goddamn easy to do. I've done it before in my house, and it's such a great feeling to actually set something up and it works immediately. Zero issues. I cannot wait for that feeling. So that's going to be the final thing. Why I probably should have done it first, because this garage is full of gear, but you know what? It doesn't work. So come have at it, guys. Come and get it.
Come take all this gear that doesn't work.
That's right. When it's working, that's when I want it to be safe. And if you ever wanted to make your home feel safer, there's no better time than now. This week, our friends at Simply Safe are giving No Dunks listeners early access to all their holiday savings. That's 40% off their award-winning home security. Simply Safe has everything you need to make your home safe. Indoor and outdoor cameras, comprehensive sensors, all monitored around the clock by trained professionals who send help the instant you need it. And all of this gear in this box is going into the Classic Factory. Even the doorbell. Why not, right? We'll get it to go bing bong or something. It'll be awesome. These are Simply Safe's biggest discount of the year. You can get a complete home security system starting at just over $100. There's no long-term contracts, no commitments. It's really easy. It's a really easy way to start feeling a little bit more peace of mind. Take advantage of Simply Safe's holiday deals and get 40% off your new home security system by visiting simplysafe.com. That's with an I, but I checked. If you put a Y by accident, still goes to Simply Safe. simplysafe.com/nodunks. Again, simplysafe.com/nodunks for 40% off your entire system.
JD, that camera is working really well. Those camera moves are slick.
It's the only thing that I got working. That took a week and a half to get that thing working, man.
But damn, you're able to just slide over. You're tilting, you're zooming to whatever you want. You got it down, man.
It's very sexy, very sexy.
You're working out the kinks real well over there. Well, I've got the fifth and final ad read here, and I thought I was going to be the one with a semi-grumpy ad read, but we just had JD's little grumpiness. We had Leigh's talking about Skeet's passive aggressiveness. I guess maybe we're just at that point of the season. Everyone's a little off kilter, but I'll keep up the tradition because American Giant hasn't sent me my stuff. Their clothing, it looks damn comfy, and I'd like to feel that comfort, but I do not have one. It's cozy season, and I would love to wrap my butt in a big zip-up from American Giant. Now, I am in talks with both American Giant and The Athletic to obtain one of these zip-ups, but even if that fails, I've got a backup plan already in the works to get my Christmas cozy on. Sneakily, I grabbed my wife's phone and searched hashtag My American Giant on Instagram so she can, go to her search tab and see My American Giant. What the heck is this? Oh, maybe I should grab a sweater for my husband because these people on hashtag My American Giant, they're all taking walks and on their computers in comfortable and stylish sweats. Danielle knows I'm a zip-up man, and I love avoiding jackets at all costs down here in the South. So this would be a wonderful gift, especially considering the double-lined hood to keep me warm. And when I finally get one shipped to me for free, maybe, it'll hopefully be the last zip-up I need for a while because instead of getting a new one every fall like I do, American Giant's heavyweight cotton can withstand wash after wash and is made to last years or even decades. Excuse me? Slate called it, quote, the greatest hoodie ever made. And I will see why, I think. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Explore American Giant's collection of durable essentials at American-Giant.com. Now, I didn't check like JD did about Simply Safe. If you go to American-Giant.com without the dash, does it work? Who knows? You can get 20% off when you use code NODUNKS at checkout. That's 20% off at American-Giant.com. Promo code NODUNKS.
Hey, Leigh, do you know what they call American Giant in Canada?
No.
American Giant.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they call it the same thing?
You were setting up for something. It's coming. I know there's a second punch coming here. So.
No, that's it, man. It's called American Giant, also in Canada.
Yeah. Barrett, by the way, you got to go to American-Giant.
Oh, okay, you need it.
Why don't they buy this other one?
Squatters.
I'm sure they'd like it.
American-Giant.com, no dash, is available for a strategic transaction. They're waiting for you, American-Giant. Go.
Yeah. All right, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
What do you got, JD?
Yeah, so we just have a simple SOT today. What's a SOT, you may ask, for the Stream Team and Pod Squad? Why, it stands for Sound on Tape. A clip, if you will. Our old friend and colleague, Rob Lopez, tweeted a clip of our old friends and colleagues, Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson, talking about the inspiration for Chuck's daughter's name.
Well, she's named after a mall, in fairness. There's a Christiana Mall in Delaware, that I used to always go by. That's how she got her name, Christiana.
Hold. Stop.
Wait, what is it?
You named your daughter after a mall?
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know. I just like them all.
You're a mess, man.
I mean, who cares if he named his daughter after a mall? It's a nice. It's Chris. Is it Christiana? Right? Like, it's a nice name, isn't it?
Yeah. Sure.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to name a human. I mean, we 4 of us have done it twice. I know that when we were naming our first son, Rachel was pregnant, and it's generally assumed that my son Lincoln was named after the 16th president of the United States, which, of course, sure, yes, sort of. But the reality is, she was pregnant. We were sitting watching an old show called Prison Break, where, of course, the smoldering Dominic Purcell plays a character named Lincoln Burrows. And we just looked at each other and we were like, hey, what do you think of Lincoln? Love it. That's it. So we knew we were having a boy, and that's how you name people. It can actually be that simple. So Ernie, relax, man. It's
That's like the 10 millionth craziest thing Charles Barkley has ever said, too.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
if he named his daughter Yorkdale or something like that, then you're like, okay, that's, but Christiana, I'm sure, is a very common name, or variations of it anyway,
Sure, yeah.
Christina. So, yeah, it's not that
Just
crazy.
like Chuck that guy is so honest. It's like, he doesn't have to tell that to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you said, it's a beautiful name. No one would really ever know it's named, of course, after this mall in Delaware. Instead, he's like, no, I'll just let you know. I mean, how old is she at this point, too?
I don't know.
Like
20s at
20,
least,
yeah.
I would imagine.
I would say at least, yeah. So, I don't know. Are there any good malls here in Atlanta that you could?
Lennox name.
Lennox is a good name. Yeah.
JD's dog, formerly known as Slacks.
Yeah.
Did you name it after the mall that you were moving to years later? It all depends on the mall, like Leigh said.
Yeah.
Like Yorkdale in Toronto. Okay, Sherway, Square One,
No.
Eaton.
Eaton.
Questionable names.
Eaton's a name.
It's a name.
It is a name.
For sure.
It's also a baseball bat, isn't it?
It's also an activity.
Yeah, it's also cheating.
It's also what?
Cheating.
Cheating?
Cheating.
I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah, well,
What are you
no,
saying?
you got
Honestly,
it. He's
I'm
saying
missing
cheating.
What am I missing?
It's eating's cheating. When you're on a big day of drinking, you're not allowed to eat. So
I've never heard that. That's why I'm very baffled.
Eaton's
Has anybody
cheating,
else
huh?
heard this?
I have heard this before.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think Tass and Trey have.
No.
In here. So
I mean,
that's why I was
I
confused. Okay.
I kind of do it though. I don't eat when I'm drinking. So yeah.
Big
that's
mistake.
dangerous,
Yeah, I don't actually. I don't like it at all. I hate drinking on an empty stomach. So there you go.
I could use a cool story right now on this little exchange from all
For
of us.
who? For all of us, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Cool story, bro.
Okay, great tweet of the night. Great SOT. Great SOT.
You're just giving away all the secrets, JD.
Yeah.
Showing off the classic factory, telling all the people what a SOT is. This is like a masterclass of your own doing.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
An angry
Yeah.
masterclass, though.
I'm going to be very happy when it's all working.
Right.
Are you sure? Are you sure? I think you're still gonna.
I'll be happier. I'll be happier.
Right,
I won't be. I'll never be happy.
JD is never actually 100% happy. All right. Well,
I can see JD. Things are going great. It sucks. I've got nothing to complain about. What's going on here?
some truth to that. Pick results from last night brought to you by BetMGM. Talking about being angry. It's another loss for me because I had the Spurs. So did Trey. That's his first L for the month of December. And Leigh as well. Leigh, what happened to you? You're like me here. You're 1-4. Tass got the only victory there. He took the Knicks to cover on the road. They got the victory. So Tass is 3-2. It goes Trey 4-1, Tass 3-2, and then me and Leigh at 1-4. There are 13 games on tonight, Tass. 26 teams are playing. So what's our game for the pick'em here?
I thought a difficult one was Utah going into Minnesota, favored by 8.5 points. Timberwolves just have to lose by 8 or less. But Trey feeling the Jazz there, and the rest of us feeling the Wolves, which I found it real tough. There are a lot of injuries in this one. Backcourt for the Wolves, questionable Patrick Beverley and D'Angelo Russell, and so is Karl Anthony Towns after playing in the last game, after returning from the old butt injury, the tailbone injury. This 8.5 feels like a lot, but Trey, you think they got this down?
Yeah, that's a big chunk of cheese, but the Jazz are playing pretty good ball. They've won 4 straight. They've got some decent rest. They played Friday, Sunday, and Wednesday, and perhaps they'll have a little bit of an advantage here with Towns being a little bit hobbled. That is a big line, though, so we shall see.
Yeah, Wolves having lost 3 straight. The rest of us feel like they can keep it close at least, but yeah, we'll see. Rudy is playing amazingly for the Utah Jazz.
All right, so that's one of the many games on tonight. Like I said, Jazz, Wolves. We will be back tomorrow morning to break down as many as we possibly can and all of the big NBA news, which goes down in the next 24 hours. So join us live at 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. Subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Like the show. Comment away. We're slowly ticking up there in the subs. There's been some nice activity as we approach our way to 50,000. So, man, what a Christmas gift that would be for your No Dunks boys. 50K subs on YouTube. Try and help us out if you haven't already. Email your questions in nodunks@theathletic.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at No Dunks Inc. Grab yourself an Athletic subscription. You will not be disappointed. Go to theathletic.com/no dunks. Before we go, Leigh, I know this is a long podcast, but can you give me a 1-minute recap of the Ashes? You were freaking out on Twitter with these clips here. Who's doing well early on?
Well, Australia's done very well. The first day of potentially 5, and England were bowled out for 147, which is a very, very bad return. At the Gabba, we're in Brisbane. You always want to bat first. England got to bat. They won the toss. They went to bat. They lost a wicket with the very first ball.
So that was the clip you were sharing there.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy.
And then they steadied somewhat to at least make 147. I mean, that when you consider you're 1 for none after 1 delivery, 140 is okay. But Australia is in a very strong position after day 1. But rain, because in cricket, you can make up the time, but there's a sort of limit that if you don't play extended days. So if it rains and rains and rains, England could get away with this without actually losing the match. So maybe
are you serious? Like if it just rained for the next 10 weeks, you're saying, or I guess even 5
the next
days?
4 days, yeah. Or it could only maybe rain for like 2 or 3 days and wash out 2 or 3 days, and then there just wouldn't be enough time for Australia to win the game outright. So
that's weird.
Yeah. Just ask Hansi Cronje about what to do there. So,
you telling me, man. Hansi Cronje? Is that what you said?
Cronje, yeah. He was the one who crafted a result out of nothing after 4 days of rain, but turned out to be he had someone in his pocket, old Hansi there. So yeah.
What, Mother Nature?
No, he had a bookie in his pocket. And because they didn't want
Jamie Skirt McDirt, I've heard it all.
Yeah, they didn't. The bookies just wanted a result. They didn't want like a no result of a test match. So Hansi got creative and got a result. And the bookies won, but then it all came crumbling down for Hansi after
this
that.
This is a story for a different podcast. I'm actually intrigued to hear this one. It's on Netflix.
It's called. There's a whole series on like cheaters and things that have gone wrong in sport. I can't remember what it's called. I saw the Hansi Cronje doc. Bad Sport. That's what it is called. Thanks,
all right.
the one on Hansi. Hansi was an incredible, inspirational figure in South Africa, but he was on the take. So, it's bad.
I still don't really understand the story and what that had to do with the weather, but I'm going to check this out.
Well, because the match was washed out, I think, for the first 4 days.
Yeah.
So they only had 1 day left. Or maybe it was the 3 days. I think they played 1 day. And then the 3 days washed out. And so they needed a result. So Hansi had to create a result out of nothing, which was basically impossible.
Create a result? I don't.
Okay, here we go. So in cricket, right, you have to defeat your opponent, right? It's not like if you scored more runs than they did at the end of the 5 days that you automatically win. You have to score more runs, and then you have to actually like defeat your opponent. And,
What does that kill them?
well, you have to get all their batters out in the second innings to win, right?
Okay.
Because if they survive and make less runs than you, then it's a no result. It's a draw, right? So you have to either defeat your opponent outright. Now, when there was so much rain, they weren't able to get both innings in. You get 2 innings per team in a 5-day test match. So what they did was they basically said, let's just declare, which means let's just throw an innings away and have it so that the final innings here, England were chasing a certain score. They had to get that. They had to get that result. They had to achieve that amount of runs before the South Africans bowled them out. And England, I can't remember.
So what you're saying, it was a classic Hansi scheme.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Cricket's very, very weird when you do try to describe it to someone. It makes perfect sense to if you grow up with it, but it's not like like I say, but there's no running out the clock in cricket. You've got to actually.
You got to get the 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th for the game to be over.
That's right. Yeah, and if you hang on to those outs in baseball, let's just say that would be a draw. That's what it's like in cricket. So you have to defeat your opponent.
All right, just like we finally defeated this podcast.
Yeah,
that's my fault. That one's on me. I take full responsibility for that one.
I guess they have rainouts in baseball to finish it off. Is that where the name the Ashes came from, where it was raining a lot and it just put out the cricket fire? And then they had ashes.
See, the ashes.
Hey, Clipper Bros, where are you at?
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Oh, thanks for joining us. And remember, I think Charles Barkley nailed it. He nailed it with the naming of his daughter, Christiana, because it's a unique name. There isn't another Christiana out there. You would think Christina, Christian, that there would be a Christiana. No. If you Google Christiana, there are 2 names that come up. Christiana Barkley and Christiana, you guys know?
The mall?
No, as a name. Christiana, it's a mall in Delaware. It is true. Montoya. You guys don't know the 8-year-old actress, Christiana Montoya? I guess you don't. But I always thought it was Christiana Milan because Christina Milian's got that extra I in her last name, but I thought it was in her first name, but it's in her last name. So Christiana Montoya, Christiana Barkley, and that's cool. That's great. Christiana Montoya is American actress. She's in The Guilty. You guys watch The Guilty? No. A Place in the Field? No.
Never heard of it.
A Dangerous Defense?
Wait, I saw The Guilty. She must have been a voice actor then.
Oh, okay. I don't know. If it's animated, sure.
He should have really just stopped. Barkley should have stopped at. He shouldn't have named his daughter's middle name Mall. That was his mistake, right? Embrace the day, people.